It's my pleasure to call to order. It's my pleasure to call to order the Peoria Public School Board of Education meeting for August 9th. To order, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick. Mr. Claus. Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Dr. Rankin.
Here.
Mr. Shaw.
Here.
Mrs. Ross. President Wilson.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. Would you please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to announcements, we will start with, well, we started over there last time. Yeah, I am. We'll start with Mrs. Lynn Costick. Then go down.
Good evening. Immunizations and physicals. Parents of students entering kindergarten, 6th grade, 9th grade, and 12th grade this school year. It is important to get started now on getting your students' physical and immunizations completed prior to the school year. Contact your health provider today to set up an appointment as quickly as possible before the school year starts. Also, any student not in compliance with their physicals and immunizations from last year also are required to get those completed prior to the start of this school year. Please contact your school if you have any questions regarding the physicals and immunization requirements for your students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Costick.
Zoo and Museum Fun. Even though the school year begins next week, don't forget that PPS families can access free experiences at the Peoria Zoo and the Peoria Riverfront Museum during the months of August and September. If you need to pick up a pass for the zoo or the museum, please visit the District Administration Building at 3202 North Wisconsin Avenue, Monday through Friday.
Please visit the COVID-19 tab at www.psd150.org to view information on the Fall 2021 Return to School Plan and keep up with updates around COVID-19 throughout the school year.
Thank you, Vice President Ross. Every district school with the kindergarten grade level will host a Jump Start to Kindergarten event the day before the school year begins for all incoming kindergarten students from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Tuesday, August 17th. Each student can bring one parent who will be able to walk with their student to their classroom, put away their school supplies, see their new school, and even take a ride on the bus. Students will also be able to visit the cafeteria and receive a grab-and-go meal. Don't wait until the first day. We encourage all parents of incoming kindergarten students to drop off their registration materials to their school as soon as possible to be a part of this special day. Call your student school office if you have any questions or need to drop off registration packets. I would also like to bring attention to one bulletin board over here, to the left, Northmore Navigators, and our bulletin board over here, Rolling Acres Middle School.
Right.
Mr. Shaw.
Thank you. Because We Care campaign walks. Staff members from our district schools will be walking through neighborhoods this week to remind families about the importance of attendance as part of the district's Because We Care campaign. Staff members will let students and families know that attendance every day and every class counts. They will also provide reminders and resources for students who need required immunizations or physicals for the school year. If you see staff members in your school, from your child's school this week, say hello. Thank you.
First day of school is next week on Wednesday, August 18th. Principals and staff members in the front office are back at your school now, Monday through Friday, and eager to assist your family. Call your school or visit if you have any questions or needs before the first day of the school year.
COVID-19 vaccine clinics are this week. Peoria Public School students and families will be able to get the COVID-19 vaccine this week from noon to 2 p.m. at Manual High School and from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday at the Peoria County Health Department. We encourage all Peoria Public School students 12 years old and older and their families to discuss the benefits of the vaccine and receiving it prior to the start of the school year. If a student is under the age of 18, they will need to be accompanied by a parent or guardian.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Are we already here? We are now at the point of presentation by audience. Presentations by audience are limited to 5 minutes, and we ask that you keep them constructive. Our first presentation will be from a former school board member, Dan Walther.
It's nice to be back and being part of the audience, I guess. I appreciate, my name is Dan Walther. My address is 1226 East Maywood. I had a couple of comments. The first one was that I appreciate what this board has done with the face mask policy that you're doing and what you're doing with the COVID-19 shots. I think it's a very responsible position that you're taking. Being a former member of the School Board Association, I've had a couple of my brothers and sisters that were very upset with the governor on his position on mandates. To be honest with you, I'd rather have Governor Pritzker taking the position he did than governors in Texas and Florida. Because if those people are upset about that, then maybe they should go to Florida and see that they're going to have kids. We're heading for an absolutely disaster for young kids because they're not able to get vaccines yet. And then to put them in a situation where they can't even have the minimal protection of a face mask, I think is the height of irresponsibility. The other thing I wanted to point out was that District 1 of the City Council and the Park District are doing tours to enlighten the public about what's going on in that. I don't know why we don't have a board member involved in that, but I would suggest that we view looking at doing that because I think District 1's important, that we understand what's going on there and that we would be a part of that, enlightening that area. And the third point I have, I'm sure Dr. Karat would understand, I'm still opposed to the fact that you've got the young kids going into third tier, but it's my position. It's always been my position because of the rich history of that and stuff with it. But it's good to see everybody again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Walther. Our final speaker this evening will be Mr. Terry Knapp.
I'd just like to say that, first of all, Mr. Pritzker is wrong. He's been wrong on everything. The governor of Florida and the governor of Texas is right on as far as I'm concerned, but that's where the public is separated. I mentioned last meeting thalidomide. Hopefully you looked up thalidomide. I know none of you raised your hand, so I assume when I ask you if you were aware of what thalidomide was by a show of hands, none of you raised your hand. So I'm hopefully you've looked into what thalidomide was and that it was recommended by doctors to pregnant women as a prescription basically for their morning sickness and other things, and 100,000 seal flipper babies were born. The vaccines have not been approved by the FDA yet, and I recently was sent a video of a school board meeting in Indiana where Dr. Dan Stock, who is a medical doctor in family practice and immunology, and he said flat out, the masks are worthless. The holes in the mask that you're wearing, the viruses go in and out. They're called an aerosol particle, much smaller than bacteria, much smaller than molds or parasites. That's what you'll find inside of a mask. You won't find any viruses in your mask if you take it off and have it examined. So we're living in a world. So anyway, he got up in front of the school board meeting, it was on video, and a video was sent to me, and the parents were all clapping because they don't want their kids in masks. The masks are worthless. I'll repeat it again, worthless. He said also the vaccines are worthless. Worthless. They're not approved, and you're going to be recommending that kids get these vaccines, and you don't even know what they do. A year from now, these kids could be ill. They could be ill right away. I told you before that my son had 2 classmates from college die within 2 days of taking the vaccines. It didn't mean that the vaccines killed them, but within 2 days, they were healthy 2 days before and dead 2 days later. Do they report that? Well, here's the thing I found. I got this video, and so I called one of my good friends that I used to be involved with in the union politic of Peoria, and within 5 minutes, my cell phone was wiped, my son's cell phone was wiped, his girlfriend's cell phone was wiped by the people, YouTube simply wiped them because they didn't like it. It's a Democrat talking point for them, so they took them down. Took them down. I should be able to have that. I voted for Obama 4 times. I'm not a Democrat. I voted for him 4 times. He came to us for money at the IFT. I was there. We gave him money and support and got him elected. I voted for Trump twice. That doesn't make me a Republican. I'll vote for who I want to vote for. But my point is this. When the media people like YouTube and Google and Facebook control whatever's put on the sites, that's bogus. That's anti-American. I should be privileged to have all the information, and you should be privileged to have all the information you can get. Not just read the white portions. Wiped off my phone. I felt violated. I felt that was my property when the person sent it to me, and I was told, oh no, it's in the deal, it's in the web, or whatever it is. I don't even care. But I called a good friend of mine who's got one of the high-priced phones. I said, you've been telling me for the last 2 or 3 years with that cell phone you've got, I got a flip phone. I'm really modern. I got a flip phone. That's because I can't afford on my pension a real phone, I guess. So anyway, my flip phone, and he told me that he knows everything because everything's on his phone. I said, this stuff isn't on your phone. They wipe your phone. If you're a Democrat, I'm telling you, they don't put any Republican talking points on anymore on the internets and so forth. And I don't even understand. Face masks for kids are pathetic. Pathetic. And if you talk to any doctors, my son's, he's an electrophysiologist, been his doctor for 25 years. You know what he told my son? Don't take the vaccine. He's out of Iowa City. You want to call him up and discuss it with him, you can. Most doctors won't say anything against Fauci because Fauci controls their money. The money that comes to them comes through Fauci. And you just got to get a clue. Don't put these kids in masks. Another year, there'll be a variant next year. And there'll be for the next 10 years. As long as the Democrats need that as a talking point, that's what will happen. They'll be in masks. And that's sad.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Thank you to Mr. Knapp and Mr. Walter for your comments. We now have response to audience presentation. Dr. Karat.
Thank you, President Wilson. Just like you said, thank you for the feedback from both Mr. Knapp and Mr. Walter. Mr. Walter, it's great to see you. And actually, in reference to the tours, we are involved, and we're helping with transportation as well. I was scheduled to visit with them last Saturday, and there were a lot of things happening in our city, which was really good. So we're on for this coming Saturday. Yeah, thank you. Good seeing you again. Oh, and hey, is that true, Alex? Thank you.
We are now at item number.
I do want to respond to the tours and that. As Alex know, even though the Park District and City of Peoria's names are on there, we have SCUC represented, which I'm the president of, and I represent the First District, which is why I'm involved in that and have been involved in it from the inception. So just so anybody wanted to ask that, the First District school board member and also president of the organization is involved.
Thank you, Vice President Ross. We are now at item number 7, approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve? It's been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, may you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Aye.
Dr. Ranking. Mr. Shaw.
Aye.
Mrs. Ross.
Aye.
President Wilson.
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 1 under information items, proposed expenditures over 2,500. Any questions for Mr. Willis? Seeing none. Item number 2, report of requests under the Freedom of Information Act and the status of such requests. Dr. Karat.
Thank you, President Wilson. Since our board meeting report on July 26, we have received 0 new requests. There were 3 pending requests noted on July 26. 2 were completed and 1 is still pending. To date, we have received 21 requests for this calendar year for a cost of $1,050. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Karat. Item number 3, under information items, we have Superintendent's 2021-2022 school year update.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will move to the, since our media, they said they're having some challenges. They asked if I move to the podium, which I'd be happy to.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Again, President Wilson, Vice President Ross, Board, just a few updates. We know that back to school is right around the corner, and a reminder that our board, to our public, voted for universal masking. And so this is just a reminder for everyone. Some interesting nuggets. Kids can actually have a mask break during recess if they're outside. No masks are really required. We're also following IHSA's guidelines as it relates to athletics. So if any indoor sports, yes for masks, and outdoor sports, no mask required. So just wanted to give an update. I've gotten some questions about, usually when our families call in, either Karen or Heidi at the front desk from time to time, I'll ask them what were some of the common themes for this week, some questions around virtual options and virtual learning, and just wanted to give the board an update. We have 183 second through eighth graders who are signed up to attend school virtually, and they'll receive information from Ms. Clausen starting tomorrow. And there were some questions also of individuals getting in, and so the application is online, and so they can apply. We do have limited space and teachers, but we'll work with our families for sure. But that was a common theme regarding phone calls that we received that I wanted to address. A huge congratulations to Whittier Primary School. I really wanted to acknowledge them. I just found out right before coming in that the librarian there, Jennifer Brady, worked with students at Whittier. They participated in the Gwendolyn Brooks Youth Poetry competition. And so one of the children from Whittier, and her name is, they call her Maddie, but it's Madeline Sears. She was a second grader at the time. I suspect she'll be a third grader this coming school year. Won in her category. And just some stats, there were 365 submissions from 75 schools. And so I'm just really proud of Maddie and the librarian, and actually the principal, Sarah Waddy, who happened to be the teacher at the time. Sarah is being promoted as principal, but she was Maddie's teacher, and the librarian worked with her. And so it's just nice. I love when our staff, again, go above and beyond and get our kids exposed in poetry competition and those other competition. It makes me really happy. And I looked at the list, and a lot of the schools, the majority of the schools were from the Chicago area, and I think we were the only Peoria school. So again, congratulations to that entire team, Ms. Waddy, Ms. Brady, and of course, Maddie. There will be a virtual ceremony on August 21st at 2. And Maddie's poem was entitled "My Home," and I read it. It was very good. That's that. Congratulations to Whittier. And just wanted to let the board know that this past week, we were so busy, and it was so beautiful to see here at central office. All the back rooms were filled with teachers coming in and out. That week of August 2nd was nothing but professional development training for our new teachers. It was New Teacher Week, and you may remember we have 80 new teachers that we're onboarded this year. They were acclimated to their buildings as well and their principals, and so just great training. And as you know, with J1 teachers, the majority of them are here. 22 of them are here. We have 4 coming in tonight. And it always happens that, the flights are delayed and they'll end up coming at like 12, 1 in the morning. So transportation has been very helpful and very patient and just excited to help. So after Monday, after tonight, we'll have 26, and we're still waiting for arrangements for 3. I remember I told you originally we had 30, and one had a death in the family and decided to stay, so we're down to 29. So yeah, it's going very well. Actually, as you know, the majority of them are from the Philippines, so I connected them with the Philippine American Society. They had a huge picnic for them on Saturday, and they were here on Saturday, and they were here on Sunday. They did a mental health youth first aid training. I listened to that. That was very good. And on Sunday, they did a classroom management strategies training from 9 to about, what was it, Dr. Ike? 5? 9 to 5 on Sunday. Very engaging, and they're so appreciative and so helpful to help. So yeah, that went very well. It's going very well. Actually, this week is also freshmen this week. Our freshmen are having their open house. I know Richwoods and Peoria High will be meeting on August 12th from 9 to 11:30. Dr. Wilson, is manuals pretty much the same as well? Same time? Okay. So the 3 high school, same day, Thursday, August 12th, same time, 9 to 11:30. So all of the ninth graders, get to your school. You'll get to see your lockers and get to meet your teachers and learn a lot about your school before it gets started. High school, is very big, so I would recommend that. And then we will have our first DLT meeting at the end of August, which is our district leadership team. And I'm really excited. Our buildings are school buildings, each individual building. Right now, they are using their school improvement plans, and they're aligning that with the 5 strategies from the strategic plan. Remember, personalized learning, embedding social emotional into learning and work, and then engaging families and communities, positivity, and then the creativity work that we're going to try to explore with. So those 5 strategies, we're all, as a system, going to work, stay focused on those, which are kind of the backbone of our strategic plan. So I'm really excited. They're working with their building leadership team as well, to customize it for themselves. And then I think Mr. Shaw mentioned, I'm not sure which one had the announcement for Because We Care. The campaign is going on. It went on, rain or shine, they do it. And the Because We Care campaign is a Tier 2 attendance intervention where home visits are made, and the visit is to show that, the teachers care, the principals care, staff care, and also to build relationship. This is all about relationship as well, and to talk about the importance of attendance and first day compliance. So this week, like today, Heinz, CTV, Vivian, Von Steuben, Roosevelt did their Because We Care today. Tomorrow, Keller, Franklin, Richwoods, Maud Sanders, Rolling Acres, Washington, Mark Bills, Sterling, Manuel, Calvin Coolidge, Roosevelt. Tomorrow they'll go on their campaign. Wednesday we have Lindbergh, Glen Oak, Sterling, Peoria High. Thursday, Northmore, Sterling, Charter Oak. And Friday, Harrison is going out again. So just kind of wanted to say kudos to the staff and principals, administrators for, again, going above and beyond and just connecting with their families as much as they can. And then just finally, our return to school plan has been completed and it's been uploaded on our website. for view. And so we're also working with Redditus to shift the screening testing to all primary schools and K-8 buildings for testing of K-8, K-4 students, and on a rotation since our high school will have access to the vaccine. So we're just going to experiment and try, put a little more focus on testing of the screening testing of the younger kids. And we're working with another vendor to set up a process for them to screen our high school athletes as well. So I think we are, we're in a really good space. We learned a lot from last year and the things that we experimented with. We have a lot of great support. I feel really good about where we are as a district. As I said, we had great PD. You approved some wonderful curriculum for our staff, and so we're ready to rock and roll. We've just did our taping for the convocation. We'll do it, we'll tape it, and so buildings will have a lot more flexibility instead of meeting at Bradley University and having that huge convocation. I think we'll be able to save on time, and which is really important. So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about that. And the big thing is the staffing of our buildings. The majority of our buildings are fully staffed. When we had to tackle with 79 openings in 2015, we're down to less than 5, so between 3 to 5. Staffing, it changes every minute of the day, but for the most part, we've been very, very stable. I'll knock on wood, but that's all I have right now for you, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carr. Is there any feedback from board members on the school year update? Dr. Ryan?
Yeah. Dr. Crott, could you remind us again why or what is happening with K-1 students who want to do virtual when there's not a virtual option?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we've had a lot of discussion as a team about that. If there are exceptional cases with a lot of supports at home, I would definitely be willing to talk to a family about it. But what we've experienced, it didn't work well. The virtual experience did not work well for the younger kids. And so, obviously, I don't like casting an entire net, right? There are some exceptional cases, but overall, actually, we were looking at our kindergarten, the progress that they made during summer, and the majority of them that were in summer school, when they were pre-tested, they were like at a pre-K level. And there's a lot of learning repair that needs to be done. So that was the recommendation from staff. They gave me some really good arguments, and we had the data. But again, we know as a district one size doesn't fit all, but overall I would say the gains, they struggled.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I figured that was the reason, but I just want parents to know that if they do have extenuating circumstances, they can reach out to either
Absolutely.
their school or office. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, thank
Have
you.
them reach out to me specifically.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any other feedback from board members on the school year update? Seeing none? Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Carr.
board.
We are now ready for the consent agenda. Vice President Ross.
Thank you. The consent agenda consists of the gifts to the school district, number 1. Number 2, payment for travel. Number 3, human resources report. Number 4, approval of elite contract for behavior/school culture services. Number 5, family core contract approval, counseling services. Number 6, contract for children's home therapist and to provide therapeutic services. Number 6, that was number 6. Number 7, National Post-Secondary Strategy Institute, or NPSI, contract approval to implement a K-12 counseling framework. Number 8, American Institute for Research, or AIR, professional development contract approval for manual, Peoria High, and Richwoods, and grading committee facilitation. That is the entirety of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Vice President Ross. Is there any items board members would like to pull for a separate vote? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
There's, discussion,
I'm sorry.
discussion. We have to have a motion and a second and
Oh, can I get a motion and a
So moved.
second too? Thank you.
then discussion on any of them.
Discussion.
There's a second?
Oh, second, yeah. And then,
So is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mr. Shaw?
aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
President Wilson?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Presentations and suggestions by board members?
Deliberation agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're now at our deliberation agenda. Item 9, amendment, policy number 7:280, students communicable and chronic infectious disease. Can we get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Is there any discussion on item 9?
Dr. Ike, did you want to speak to it?
Yes. It's simply what Dr. Karat mentioned earlier today, shifting testing from the high school to K-4 schools, because high schools now have the ability to get vaccinated. K-4 ones don't. So it's just a strategic move for surveillance testing.
Thank you, Dr. Ike. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Ranking? Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mrs. Ross?
Aye.
President Wilson?
Aye.
7 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. We are now at presentations and suggestions by board members. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. For the Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee, Dr. Ranking and I have met. We're still collaborating on our plan, and we will be ready to launch this committee come September. Also, I wanted to give just a quick update about the water bottle filler stations. I spoke to Dave Myers, and he has stated that we now have all of the water bottle fillers except for Whittier, which is still under construction. We have them all installed at the 14 other schools, so I was really excited to have those ready to go for this coming school year as an option and ready to go. So that is all I have.
This is amazing work. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a team effort, and they did a great job on getting all that pulled together, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any other presentations or suggestions, Ms. Costick?
Yes, yes. The building committee, which consists of Mrs. Ross and myself. As we embark upon another school year, the building committee has established a priority in undertaking pertinent projects. First on our agenda is to complete the process of renaming the remaining 6 schools that were identified last fall. Those schools are as follows. It's Washington, Harrison, Roosevelt, Calvin Coolidge, Lindbergh, and Lincoln. As a committee, rather than taking on each school individually, we decided that this process would include all 6 of the remaining schools. We will have an open period of 90 days in which we will accept recommendations of proposed names. That period will run from September 1st, 2021 through December 1st, 2021. No recommendations will be considered after the close date of December 1st. Hold on just a second here, I can't. Okay, there we go. Recommendations are to include the designated school, the proposed name, and a brief description or bio of the proposed school name. February 2022, we have not designated a date yet. The committee will provide a list of those recommendations to the Board of Education and Administration. Also, the committee will schedule an open town hall discussion, whereas the public will be invited to the Q&A, and that date is to be determined. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Costick. So are they to, beginning September 1st, email either yourself or Vice President Ross?
Yes.
President Wilson,
Dr. Karat?
we'll be happy to help advertise and put the information on the website for you as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Any other presentations or suggestions?
I was, just talked to, Mr. Shaw, I should have mentioned earlier, that there is another board-level committee that is established, which is a procurement committee. That forthcoming, information will be forthcoming on the procurement committee.
Awesome. Thank you, Vice President Ross. Ms. Costick?
I would also like to say, I had the distinct pleasure of attending the unveiling of Dr. C.T. Vivian Primary School on Thursday. And it was such an inspiring event. The family just is ecstatic over, the naming based on their father and the accomplishments that he has made. So it was very nice, very enjoyable time, and we look forward to as we continue.
Thank you, Ms. Costick.
I wish I could have made that ceremony. As you know, I was involved in leadership conferences over the weekend. Many of those meetings ran late into the evening, so I couldn't attend. But
Your brothers were looking for you.
yes, I was in that conference in Jamaica, so I.
I would have chosen that.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. I would like to just dovetail kind of off of what Mrs. Costick has said. It was a great day. Very important day, I believe. I believe we made history that day, or we were on the right side of history, I should say. And I'm looking forward to the process that starts September 1st with the remaining schools. So, any reports from board committees?
Meeting day.
We kind of already, Mr. Claus?
Policy meets August 18th at 3:30.
August 18th, thank you. Okay. Ms. Costick? September 7th.
I think that's what we said,
Building
September
design.
7th.
The building committee will meet, our first meeting will be on the 7th at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Awesome.
Tuesday, September the 7th.
Thank you, Mrs. Costick. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
This isn't a board, it isn't a board committee, but I want to announce and talk a little, just briefly about the Black History 365 curriculum that is part of this fall's curriculum at the high school level. And we have a Black History 365 committee that meets. We're going to be meeting quarterly, and we met the other day, and the staff said there were over 500 students, 9 through 12, already signed up for the Black History 365 course. So that's all I want to.
How many students was that again?
It's over 500 already. Last time it was 380 something, but now it's over 500.
Awesome, so the demand is there for sure.
The students are asking for it,
Awesome,
And
thank you.
and I want to work with Dr. Karat in putting together, and Dr. Bell or whomever, putting together the parent piece of this, where the parents will be part of the will be educated and part of this process.
Thank you, Vice President Ross. Is there a motion to adjourn?
How long is that?